Bret Hauser. An unlikely hero. An unlikely hero, Bret Hauser.
It was just 2 days before Christmas, and the North Pole was on Elf Alert Orange. Manufacturing was running way behind schedule, but working frantically to catch up. Quality control was looking at every detail. And Santa Claus, well, he'd already changed from hot chocolate to something much stronger. Let's face it, it was crunch time, and everybody was burning their candle at both ends. And that's when it happened. Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, this reporter has learned that even at the North Pole, things can go very badly at the most inopportune times. One young elf let his candle get a little too close to the SSPS, the Supplemental Slave Propulsion System, and the whole generator went up in smoke. The electrical surge went throughout the entire complex, frying the hydraulic controls in the process. The huge coolant pump spun up out of control, pressure building when, bam, the pipes burst at their seams all across the workshop. Well, there's no telling how bad the flooding would have become if it hadn't been for the EEBB. The Emergency Elfin Bucket Brigade, those brave young men and women sprang into action, running fearlessly into now waist-deep water. Try as they might, though, the EEBB could not prevent terrible destruction to the workshop. 3 of the main candy cane support columns melted in the flood. The entire north gingerbread wall collapsed. Such devastation. Toy ships sinking. Green Army men mobilizing with peppermint lifesavers. Raggedy Ann clutching to a floating piece of gingerbread, trying to hold the hand of her beloved boyfriend. There weren't enough dry toys to fill Santa's sleigh, and he desperately needed more. So with the disaster recovery firm of Are You Done and Hal working in the background, Santa pleaded with his elves for more toys. He pleaded, frankly, for a miracle. But the leadership, the United Brotherhood of Elves, Fairies, and Other Seasonal Workers, reminded Santa of Clause 97, implemented at last year's collective bargaining agreement, which specifically precludes any member of the UBEFOSW from creating something from nothing. And since the raw material warehouse was awash, their hands were clearly tied. No one, it seemed, knew how to save Christmas. No one, that is, but Elmer Hinkle-Counter. Elmer Hinkle-Counter, that mild-mannered elf from accounts receivable, grabbed his smartphone, ran out of his cubicle, and in one swift motion connected the sleigh, whispered to Rudolph, and they were gone. Faster than eagles they flew through the night, returning with a hero, to everyone's delight. It was Tim Tebow, comeback king, and Elmer Hinkle-Counter's Facebook BFF. He had seen Elmer's status change from busy to drowning, and he knew he had to help. Being Tim Tebow, he had a plan. Even while Elmer was still in the air, he called on his favorite receiver, which passed him to a friend whose second cousin, twice removed, was the toy manager at Gimbel's. And he had all the toys that Santa needed for a 50% discount on next year's stock, of course. And with just 45 minutes left, they all arrived back at the North Pole. In a series of Hail Mary passes, Tim unloaded that sleigh and got all those toys to final packaging in time for the overnight delivery pickup. Well, in the days and weeks that have followed this horrific event, my sources tell me that 2 key changes are underway at the North Pole. First, Santa has opened negotiations with the UBEFOSW to repeal what has since become called the Anti-Miracle Clause. And second, as the newly elected president of the UBEFOSW, Elmer Hinkle-Counter has mandated that no one ever again, under any circumstances, will operate a double-ended candle without the proper training and a license.